Ladies and gentlemen, come on, come on, step right up. Tickets, please, and witness a marvel of gold and exposition and a wrestling brought to the highest of competition as the NWA once again goes to pay-per-view, this time with When Our Shadows Fall. Funny thing about that name, I wonder when our shadows fall, who will step out and be seen in the light? I guess we'll find out momentarily. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon to you all on this fine Sunday. My name is Noah Foster, and I am just a simple man bringing you my simple intake and predictions. And I'm sipping and predicting the next NWA pay-per-view literally under 90 minutes away when our shadows fall. This pay-per-view is, of course, available on the Fight TV app for about $20. All the gold's on the line. Hopefully some stuff will be settled. We got some impressive debuts to come too, and some very interesting action. With that being said, let's go ahead and look at what we have here. Again, I encourage you all, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Feel free to share this with your friends, like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, and follow Team NWA on Facebook. Shout out to Martha Griffith Reviews and the Jeff Meacham Network. I believe with him during the live watch along as well. I know he did live predictions. Shout out to the other half of the Simple Holiday Christopher Mace, all past transgressions forgiven. Go check out his predictions too. Let's go ahead and talk about the show and have some fun. So the first match I want to talk about is a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. You got to wonder if this Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match could maybe give us an idea of our next tag team contenders based on whoever walks out with the gold tonight. Talk about that later. So here are the teams. The first team we have, of course, is the End, the team of Addison and Parle. Addison and Parle most recently showed up at the NWA in the number one contenders match against the War Kings. Tremendous but losing effort. Combination of power and experience galore. I would not count these guys out. You also have debuting here the team of Estia 666 and Mecha Wolf. Now, the thing about this duo is they are renowned all across the world, especially in Mexico. They come in with the most experience in this match, not only as individuals, but as tag teams. You got a combination of a high flyer and a strong powerhouse brawler here. One of them literally known as Mr. 450, which is something you usually don't see in the NWA, in my opinion, is like high aerial offense. So I'm super curious what this duo could bring. You also have the duo of Marche Rocket and Slice Boogie. Slice Boogie, of course, coming on the scene back at NWA Back for the Attack, winning, I might add, that Fatal 4-Way match, only coming in this with 2 years of experience, and Marche Rocket has potential. He has a little bit of experience in the NWA. I think this could be a very interesting clash as these two tag for the first time ever. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Noah, why you are on while watching Braves? By the way, I haven't watched NWA in a long time, but I feel that still no one can stop Nick Aldis. Well, I'll be sure to give my thoughts on that. And please follow my friend Sandy on Twitter, folks. And good luck to your baseball team. Hope you're doing well. And anyway, you also have, of course, the duo of Sam Rudo, a.k.a. Sam Adonis, and Sal Ronaldo. Now, of course, I just come off watching Power Surge 2, which is why I'm a little late with this video. And we just saw Sal come off a victory with Tim Storm. But I wonder maybe if he got a little bit rambunctious and can this be a long-term duo? I imagine that Tim Storm is going to be on commentary here with, of course, Joe Gary and Velvet Sky during this preview. Those guys really improved since start season 2. Respect. Anyway, for those that don't know much about Sam Rudo, he literally is coming off the show yesterday, Warrior Wrestling, in the losing after Matt Cardona, has a few years of experience and is basically freelancer, also a techniker. So when I look at this, I think about this has to be not only, opportunity for so many here, but I also think about the winners can be the next challengers towards the tag team gold. And I look at these combinations. I think, do you go with experience? Do you go with who you've seen in the NWA? Do you go with who's the most fine-tuned? Then again, when it comes to the NWA Tag Team Championships, it's not the most fine-tuned picture. And these teams kind of all have their problems. But in my opinion, I'm actually going to go with the End picking it up here, especially after how the End lost out on their opportunity for the titles when, of course, Restitution's final, but the shoulders were not down for the free count. On replay, he clearly got it up. So I think this would be a good way for them to try and get some redemption. So I'm actually going with Addison and Parle for the win because I have a feeling the End of the War Kings is something to be revisited. Just saying. Moving on from there, this is going to be a very interesting match as we have Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser, who's been killing it in the NWA and NWW Strong. He takes on JTG. There's a name you haven't heard for a while. But JTG has not been resting, of course, on what brought him to the dance, pro wrestling. And there's no doubt he's definitely got a heavy heart with him, with the loss, of course, of Shad Gaspar, as we're literally a little over a year from that. With that being said, this is Destiny versus the debut, as they kind of alluded to on the graphic. JTG's last wrestling match was actually back in April, where he beat Homicide in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And of course, Fred Rosser has been heavily involved with the NWA, but his most recent affair, he lost to Pope for the television title. But also, recently on NWA Strong, he also beat Hikuleo in a crazy no DQ match that went everywhere and anywhere. With that being said, this is the NWA. You are untested. You are probably unknown here too. But as Billy Corgan, so they alluded to, he wants to bring this place as the land of opportunity. So with that being said, I really don't know what to expect from JTG, but I actually am going to go with Fred Rosser right now, picking up the victory. Honestly, I see this being a long, hard-fought, respectable bout, and maybe a handshake at the end or beforehand. And who knows? These two, they might form a tag team. Is this a one-off or is this something bigger? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I know, right? Think about that. You remember Crime Time? Oh, man. That was fun times. Brooklyn. But I digress. Anyway, moving on from there, we go into a match that really has become a grudge as Tyrus with Austin Idol in his corner or on commentary. He'll be taking on the NWA television champion, the Pope. But this time, there must be a winner. In the last singles outing over the gold, it went to a draw. And ever since then, it seems like this feud with Tyrus and the Pope has yet to be laid to rest. While Austin Idol at one point literally just wanted to acknowledge Pope for the win and shake his hand, the Pope denied that. And literally, as Tyrus was in this number one contenders battle royal for the NWA 10 pounds of gold, it was the Pope that cost him. So I honestly gotta wonder, is the Pope just trying to get under Tyrus's skin? Is Tyrus' agenda just not fully there? Where does this go to? Is this the rematch that maybe could be the Pope's downfall in getting Tyrus another championship opportunity, and can Tyrus capitalize on it? With that being said, I look at this match, I look at there being no clock. I think that somehow Tyrus is going to pull it out here, and this might lead to him getting a rematch for the television championship, because Austin Idol clearly has investment in Tyrus obtaining that television title, because, of course, you get lucky seven victories, you get a chance at the world title. Pope, of course, coming off now his 4th victory after beating Matt Cross in a pretty good match. So my pick here is Tyrus to pull out the win, by hook or by crook. Which leads me now into what really is going to be a first step to shine forward in women's wrestling in the NWA as this division continues to grow and flourish and show off. I am really excited for this tag match. Heard the name Tyrus, but not sure if it's the same person or not. It is Sandy. That is that same guy you remember being the Funkasaurus, but I call my mama. Also the bodyguard to both EC3 and iconic Matt Hardy in Impact Wrestling. He also was formerly on Fox. I don't know if he's still working at Fox. And now he's in the NWA. But that is the same person you're thinking of. Hey, shout out to SCW, the Wrestling Challenge. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be doing a collab for NXT TakeOver later this week. Cheers to you, pal. I'll see you soon. With that being said, let's go into a very interesting women's tag match as La Guerrera Thunder Rosa and her partner, Melina, who during this season, they truly have become more so on the same page. Melina being the advocate, basically, for Thunder Rosa and what she does and what she brings to the table. All past transgressions resolved. But they face the unlikely duo of Taryn Terrell, who has yet, I might add, to wrestle the NWA, and coming back in more ways than one, Smiley Kylie Ray. Let's think about this for a moment, shall we? Taryn Terrell has not wrestled, to my knowledge, since Impact Wrestling, where she was a former Knockouts champion. Now, whether or not she's done stuff during that time, I don't know. I have not had time to research. But Kylie Ray, she literally announced her wrestling retirement last year in November for the sake of her own mental and physical well-being. And I can't blame her, because as an advocate for mental health, who also deals with his own self and his family, I truly have nothing but respect for the person to doing that and hope the person, not just the wrestler, is okay to come back. That being said, Kylie Ray's last match was literally October 2020 against Kimberly in Impact Wrestling. And it was that following month she announced her retirement, which made the entire wrestling community sad, but I feel a notable amount of people understood where she was coming from. But it seems like over a year and several months later, she is back, as she literally just came off a successful defense of, because she still is, the Women's Warrior Wrestling Champion last night on their show against Hollanded. And to my knowledge, Kylie Rae and Terrence Rowe, not only I think have never tagged, but I don't think they've ever faced each other in the ring. So with that being said, this is going to be an extremely intriguing match because it's Kylie Rae's NWA debut, and it's also Taryn Terrell's in-ring debut in the NWA, and you are seeing two complete opposite contrasts here. But also, Melina has not wrestled at all during the NWA either, and Thunder Rosa, she definitely has been the most proactive of all four of these women in and out of the ring. So who do you go with, considering Thunder Rosa did just lose to Camille in that incredible match, 20-minute draw, and of course has her freelancing priorities all over the place in the professional wrestling industry. And it's going to be interesting to see how Melina and her work together too. It almost feels like to me that you kind of have to give it to Thunder Rosa and Melina, but I'm super curious how Kylie Rae and Terrence Terrell work together. Will there be an implosion? Will there be some miscommunication? I'm super curious about this match, but in my opinion, I am going to go with, especially consider this, Thunder Rosa will face Kylie Rae later this month in Warrior Wrestling for her Warriors Women Wrestling Championship. We might literally get a preview. So I'm actually going with Thunder Rosa here for the win to push forward towards the match everyone's waiting to see, Kylie Rae versus Thunder Rosa for that title. And shout out, of course, so pleased to see her back. Absolutely agree with you. Again, I just hope that both the person and wrestler is fully ready to come back. And Sandy says, mental health's no joke. I should know since I suffer from depression and ADHD. Happy Kylie's back after that battle for mental health. Support mental health awareness for life. That's all I got to say about that. Respect to everybody. Like Mara Manello and, of course, Maya Balak, who's been hosting Jeopardy, raising funds for the National Alliance Mental Institute. So shout out to her. But I'm very curious and looking forward to this match. Now, let's go ahead and look at the NWA World Tag Team Championship picture because it is nothing but all over the place and chaotic, as Billy Corgan alluded to. We have the tag champs who they can't stand each other, but when it matters for the gold, they get it done. We have the unlikely duo in half a champion and apparently a huge social media favorite. And then you have previous challengers that lost under, I would say, controversial circumstances. It's a triple threat dance, as we have Aaron Stevens and Kratos defending their titles against Strictly Businesses, Chris Adonis, and Thomas Vladimir, and of course, the War Kings, Crimson and Jax Dane. As Crimson and Jax Dane were wronged in their last championship opportunity after some masked person knocked the hell out of Crimson and Kratos capitalized for the fall, Billy Corgan only felt it was right to put these guys in the match to see if they could basically bounce back from what happened. And then you have everything Strictly Business has done this season with Adonis advocating the national championship, and Thomas Latimer, who you fit would have been a champion, there they going, but he didn't get that. But is a former tag team champion, of course, with Wildcard, Royce Isaacs, who's now with the West Coast Wrecking Crew. With that being said, how long does a team go for when they're on the verge of implosion? Because you have so many combustible elements with JR Kratos and Aaron Stevens, since Aaron Stevens has basically gotten a new outlook on pro wrestling since the passing of his great friend, Joseph Hudson, aka the Question Mark. And to think, these two came together because Aaron Stevens hired this mercenary because the Question Mark could not meet him for this opportunity. Where, of course, Kratos and Aaron Stevens got the tag titles off Eli Drake and James Storm, the previous champions. That being said, they're successful coming off recent offense against the War Kings, and then you have the unlikely duo of Adonis and Latimer. With that being said, Corgan's already spoke his piece about how this tag team championship picture is nothing but a huge mess. And right now, I look at who could carry the NWA going forward as a tag team champions. But also, come the end of the night, could we have Strictly Business, every one of them with the gold? That being said, I feel Latimer definitely deserves it again, and he's probably the most likely to watch in this match with the previous experience both as champion and challenger. So part of me actually does want to go with the actual Strictly Business duo. So I'm going to go with them because something tells me that weird masked person that knocked Crimson out, he might show up again, and that might still be on Crimson's mind. Why Crimson and Jax Dane are a great tag team together and apparently look out for each other, especially after that towel throw in for Crimson getting hurt and Jax Dane looking out for his friend, giving Slice Boogie that win. I think that Strictly Business is going to capitalize on all the combustible elements between the tag champs and maybe Crimson still having that mask guy on his mind. So I'm actually going to go with Strictly Business gets the gold. And Latimer, once again, now becomes a two-time NWA World Tag Team Champion. Tag champion NWA not getting along? Wow. And get this. It's the same thing for the GHC tag champions after what Masa did to Nakajima last Monday. Yeah, it just seems like tag teams right now. They just can't get on the same page, whether it's ideologies, I'm better than you, follow my strategy, etc. You just see it more and more with tag teams. Combustible elements, egos aside, I feel eventually every tag team specialist wants to shine on their own, and that's probably part of the reason. I'm a Strictly Business guy, such a great underrated stable in the world of wrestling. Oh, I agree 100%. Strictly Business is definitely one of those stables that stood out to me, and as Nick Aldis says, he claims it's the elite, take that as you will, of pro wrestling, in his opinion, as he brought it together by merit and his own eye for talent. Now, how much of that really is true versus insurance policy, protection, common interests, we'll wait and see. It still baffles me when Nick Aldis literally did not let Latimer and, of course, Adonis go after the tag titles previously because he was worried about them not being involved in the Battle Royal. But I digress. Anyway, I'm going with Strictly Business for new tag team champions. Now we come to a very interesting, intense, and possibly could be the match of the night, as the NWA Women's World Championship will be on the line as making, get this, her NWA in-ring debut. The current champion, Serena Deeb, the woman of 1,000 holes, as endorsed by Dean Malenko, takes on the unbeaten and seemingly unstoppable 100% focus, Camille. While Serena Deeb definitely has the experience edge over Camille, being in the business for over 16 years, it is, of course, Camille, who's been wrestling since 2017, came into the NWA in 2018 as Nick Aldis' insurance policy. And as Nick Aldis alluded to, there was no doubt about her physical capability. I mean, just look at her. But she's been seasoned, she's been educated since being part of Strictly Business, and literally now she stands on her own and showing us what she is capable of in the ring. Of course, beating Genocide, Alex Grazia, anybody that stepped up to her, and Thunder Rosa now, not once, but twice. It was Camille that earned this opportunity back for the attack, beating Thunder Rosa, fair and square. And most recently, we showed how far Camille can adapt and endure when these two went to a 20-minute draw. Thus, Camille kept her number one contendership status. That being said, I'm seriously torn on this, and I'm seriously intrigued by this too. It seems like Serena Deeb right now, she is more respected by Camille versus Thunder Rosa. She thinks she's a great representative, and of course, this title having a legacy since 1938. Of course, great carriers like Jazz, like Allison Kay, Thunder Rosa being a previous champion, Mildred, Fabulous Moolah, the list goes on and on. It's one of those things where I feel like this is the NWA World's title. You would think it belongs just simply in the NWA. But Camille is also undefeated, and this will be her toughest test to date. While she is the brick house, how do you break down that? You break down the foundation. We know how resourceful and aggressive Serena Deeb can be. Camille has taken notice of that. And I wonder if she really can break down Camille to the point she can maybe make her tap out to the Serenity Lock. This one's really tough for me, but thinking about what Camille said, how she wants to take the title in a different direction, and we know Serena Deeb is with AEW and can go after the women's world title there, I feel like Serena Deeb has been a great advocate and a great representation for the NWA women's division, but I'm curious now what Camille can do going forward with the title. So somehow, whether it takes one spear or two, I think Camille is going to pull it out. I have Camille becoming the new NWA Women's World Champion. And as far as Serena Deeb goes, I would not call this a one-off for her in the NWA. I could definitely see her coming back here and seeing her help grow this division and maybe challenging Camille for the title too. But again, towards my idea of Strictly Business, I feel that Camille is somehow going to pull it out in what could be her toughest, most impressive match to date. Still, NWA has been grooming Camille for this championship match. I think she will take the win, but should be a very interesting match. Oh, agree 100%. Again, we know at least she can go for 20 minutes. Will this match surpass what her and Thunder Rosa did under non-title circumstances? We're going to have to wait and see. Women's title match, hands down, Camille, to me, no one better than her right now. She is definitely up and beyond original NWA women's roster-wise, the best in the business. I completely agree. She truly does stand for just the NWA, and you got to respect that. So, yeah, I think that Camille is finally going to make her opportunity and become the leader of the women's division and bring the title back to the NWA, as May Valentine is also rooting for her to do that. Camille seems very focused, but you know Deeb, she's going to bring it. This is going to be a very good match. Which leads us to the World Championship match now, as the NWA champion, the holder of the 10 pounds of gold, the national treasure, Nick Aldis. He defends it against Trevor Murdoch. Both these men have had very different journeys, but still come from similar roots as far as respect and training goes under the late, great Harley Race, who was, I might add, the previous longest reigning title holder, as now Nick Aldis has surpassed that. And he looks at that and it's like it's a very notable honor. But at the end of the day, I just need to win, and I just like to win. It's as simple as that. With that being said, he looks at this idea is Billy Corgan like trying to do something against me, against Strictly Business. But you can't argue what I've done for the NWA. And you also can't argue that right now there really is nobody that can present the NWA like I do or be a representation. It seems like one of those things where it's like, you're the guy that doesn't belong here. You're the guy that should not be champion. You're the guy that never will be that champion. You're the guy that will never be in that spot. Almost like, higher class versus the lower class. Now, while we have not seen a High Times promo from Trevor Murdoch, he's had a hell of a journey getting here. Of course, coming into this season as a national champion and losing it to Chris Adonis after being blasted in the back of the head. Pretty much it's been Trevor Murdoch and Strictly Business the entire season. At one point, Trevor Murdoch involved in a trios match on the losing side. He literally got suspended for 30 days. And why Nick Aldis basically doesn't put any of that blame or shame on himself, you got to wonder it was pretty much Nick Aldis who was playing the whole time. Of course, we saw in the Battle Royale when Adonis and Latimer had a miscommunication, Murdoch capitalized on it and won, and it seemed like that was the number one person that Nick Aldis did not want to win. And we saw what happened. He came into the ring, beat him up, but it was Murdoch who was standing tall in the end as Joe Gallo looked like he was about to jump out of his seat. With that being said, and thinking about how the NWA goes forward and how Billy Corgan sees this company as land of opportunity, he's not into punishment, and this company has no limits in anybody. If you prove that you're willing to do the work and you truly want to represent what happens in that ring and respect what happens in that ring, you could be a champion too. It would be a huge shocker and surprise to me that this former WWE Tag Team Champion, former NWA National Champion, gets the win here. But something tells me right now, going into the next season of NWA Power, I think we're going to have Strictly Business with all the gold. I actually do have Nick Aldis retaining the NWA World Championship. It's one of those things where I look at his previous matches where he's defended this against Flip Gordon, Tim Storm, first getting this off of Cody back at NWA's 70th anniversary. And of course, most recently successfully defending this against Aaron Stevens. It just seems like right now there's nobody on that worker level than Nick Aldis when it comes to the NWA and this title. While I admire Trevor Murdoch and the journey that he's had too here, it just feels like to me, and maybe it's also just a physical standpoint, because I also wonder how far Murdoch's cardio can carry him too. We know how hard Nick Aldis works. I think Nick Aldis is going to outlast and outpace this guy. And I feel it's going to be a straight-up wrestling match. I don't see Strictly Business getting involved. But I just think right now that Nick Aldis, there's nobody right now that could take this title off him and carry what he's done with the NWA. With this incredible story of, clickbait, challenging the marks, challenging Twitter, and of course challenging Billy Corgan and the way he runs things here or wants to identify stuff in the NWA. I see that going forward. And this is only going to add further tension to that issue too. Imagine Strictly Business coming in with all the gold, draped in gold. It'd be something like you haven't seen in several years since Evolution, honestly, or Undisputed Era, when you think about other factions in wrestling that have done this, or the factions in New Japan Pro Wrestling. With that being said, I think that Nick Aldis will end the night as the NWA World Champion still. And we literally have all the four members of Strictly Business with the gold. With that being said, those are my brief predictions for NWA When Our Shadows Fall. And I'm very curious what this will do to the NWA going forward, as he wants to have, a land of opportunity, open door policy with this company too. What other faces or surprises will show up? Will we get another confrontation maybe to Nick Aldis and the 10 pounds of gold? Maybe someone else from his past? We'll have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts, your predictions, your outlook on the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, the then, the now, forever, the going forward. I'd love to hear them. But, excuse me, geez, wrong pipe. But that's all I got to say for now as far as wonder, where does the NWA go from here? Who else will cross over maybe into another company? How will the NWA be pushed forward through Strictly Business? In my opinion, holding all the gold. Only time will tell. But those are my brief predictions. So thanks for tuning in. Spot on with all this and Strictly Business having all the gold. Good video, buddy. I thank you, SCW, and please follow, folks, the Wrestling Channel for all sorts of great Q&A, discussion, reviews, predictions galore. And again, we'll be collabing on TakeOver next week. Looking forward to it. With that being said, folks, I would love to hear your predictions and thoughts, but thank you, of course, for tuning in. You want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. And apparently people think I should be a commentator, but I don't know if I'm going to pursue that. But feel free to follow me on Twitter for positive wrestling outlooks and live takes and live thoughts and live moments in your day. And Foster 1916. Want a positive reprieve or more wrestling memorabilia? Follow me on Instagram and Foster 1916 as well. And keep following the Simple YouTube channel where I do content out of nowhere, sometimes live or pre-recorded, at youtube.com/c/NoFoster10 for all things wrestling. And shout out to my ATW family on Twitter. We'll definitely be doing their ATW view very soon, too. Stay tuned, of course. I'll be with the Jeff Meacham Network, going along with him on a live watch-along during this pay-per-view. Cheesecake or no cheesecake, it should be great fun, too. As always, I like to close. There are no winners, there are no losers, there are no bears. There are just fans with own opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, support one another and respect each other. And just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. It's as simple as that. With that being said, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell on those vehicles on this channel and hit the subscribe button. Help me keep going on this channel. Shout out to all 202 that's been with me on this fun YouTuber creator's journey. It's not later anytime soon. I actually will be back later tonight with a Dominion preview and predict, as well as my brief thoughts since the inception of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, because I haven't really done anything since then because I've been thinking about this a lot, and also I've just had no time with work and school. So, with that being said, take care and enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families. Enjoy wrestling. Please follow the NWA. Give it a chance if you're a pro wrestling fan. Look up the history towards it and see what might unfold tonight when our shadows fall, which literally is in about an hour. So I'm going to go get ready with some dinner. Thanks for tuning in, and until the next video, I hope you all enjoy life, be safe, and enjoy your Sunday. Have a wonderful day. Gotta appreciate the NWA. That's what you gotta do. Is this thing ending? Probably not.